So welcome to Clear Vision Wednesday. My name is Trisha Kirby, and I am on Claudia Milovik's team. And I'm guest hosting today's episode of Clear Vision Wednesday. This month's theme has been about color. So color vision and how we use light and color to help our eyes regain their natural clarity. So what I would like to introduce to you today is a totally outside of the box topic, like something that's really unusual. And I would like to introduce you to something that's going to help you improve your vision in a little bit of a novel way, and hopefully help you also see the world a bit differently. So it's about color secrets, but it's not the color that you're seeing around you. It's actually the colors that we have as part of our own energy biofield. So now, for some of you, this is going to sound a little esoteric, but I want you to bear with me a little bit, at least until you see where I'm going with it, before you kind of write it off, because it's a tiny little bit woo-woo. And so I'm just going to invite you to allow the information and know that you're going to gain something from it. Okay, so color secrets for better vision. I came up with this topic because it's something that I notice in working with hundreds and hundreds of vision students, that there are certain patterns that come up. And when I notice these patterns and when I notice how to help them out of these patterns, I want to share the information with you and give you like the little secrets and things that I notice help people and also what holds people back. So I like to share the information. In this particular case, so I'll tell a quick story. I have a master's degree, and when I was getting my master's degree, I went down to the Florida Keys and I was studying dolphins at the Dolphin Research Center. And there was a lady there she was a girl there from California. She worked as a firefighter with Santa Barbara Fire Department. She was the first female firefighter in that fire department. And she looked at me while we were sitting on the dock and we're hanging out with the dolphins swimming around. It's like a live-in center. It was a college elective. I did not study marine biology. I studied liberal arts. But she looked at me and she said, do you know your aura colors? And I said, I don't even know what that is, but no, I don't know my aura colors. She started telling me that my aura colors, and then, which is my energy colors, like the bands closest to you. And she was so spot on and so accurate. And I felt so seen. I couldn't even believe it. And I thought, okay, there's got to be something to this, because this is like beyond, it is not a coincidence. Like we had never talked, nothing. She just looked at me and started telling me about me. And I was shocked. And so after that, she handed me a galley copy of a book that hadn't been published yet by a lady who could see aura colors. And I started reading it, and it became a framework and a perspective lens through which I viewed all of life and people and how they interacted. It was almost like I had learned a foreign language. And all of a sudden I could interpret the world through this language that gave me just a completely different view on life. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I noticed in the colors, but I'm going to put it into really simple categories, which is going to be physical, mental, emotional, and like a little bit spiritual. So it's going to be framed up in a way where you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to just talk about colors. I'll be talking, and they are literal colors. Like if you are around someone who is any little bit intuitive, like Donna Eden can see people's colors. She would always sign people's books with what your color was, which was really fun. But if you are at all intuitive, you can sometimes sense these colors. And oftentimes you will either be drawn to your color or even sort of repelled away from whatever color you happen to be. And you are born with these colors and you stay with these colors. These colors do not change the same way you can't change your location of birth. You know, you can move to different areas, so you can add in colors, but you cannot change like your actual birth color. Or maybe if you can, it's extremely unusual. I've literally never met anybody who could do it. All right, so how I want to divide this up is to give you some insight on the color and how these people kind of are, some of the qualities of them, and then what may affect their vision in terms of those color qualities and lead to blur, and then how they can improve their vision. So some tips on that too. So physical colors. So physical colors are it's interesting, they're in the warmer range of colors. So they're like in the reds and the oranges. These are just little pieces of paper, but the yellow, the oranges, the reds, and think in terms of the chakra system, it's similar to that too. So the red, orange, and yellow, they're people who experience the world in a more physical way. Like they're going to be sensing the world in their body. They're going to be perceiving things in a physical way. They're going to tend to like, they're going to like experiencing life through their vision, through their hearing, through what they eat. So think sensory experiences, think physical, think like there are people who might want to be outdoors. They might like sports. They might like activity. They might like food, eating food. They might like massages and touching. And then those are going to translate into careers too, these kinds of things, like the people who are more into their physical body. How that can show up in the vision in terms of what creates blur is these folks tend to like freedom because they want to be able to have the freedom to move. So if they feel stifled in their life, if they feel drama in their life, they don't like the drama. They actually would want to run away physically to get away from the drama. If they're not getting out in nature enough, like they're indoors too much. So people who like to be outside in nature and experiencing the world. If they're not being physically active, if they become too sedentary, they're going to get unhappy, and that's going to lead to blur. So think like mental emotional components, but it's leading to this actual physical blur. If they are on a computer too long, if they are too isolated from being social, these are people who tend to like socializing and being with other people. They're physical people, but they also like going out and doing group activities. So like they would go out with a meetup group who was going to be planning an activity, like let's go to a theme park together or something, but they'll come in with these physical colors and they'll want to be doing stuff. Like they're actually like, I want to go hiking and biking and running, and you'll find a lot of these folks as surfers out in the ocean, or you'll find them at the gym, or you'll find them at a cooking class. You'll meet those people there. But for the vision, what's going to help them improve their vision is going to be choosing vision practices that resonate with them on a physical level. So one of the primary foundational practices of the Bates method is movement. Now, it's eye movement, but it's also body movement. So in this case, yes, it's moving the eyes. So doing things like with saccadic vision shifter and using the shifter to be moving your eyes and getting your eyes to do these little jumps, or if it's doing the swing or the sway and moving in such a way where you're moving your body and you're noticing the movement of the world around you, those are really going to help your eyes to regain their clarity, but keeping in mind movement as one of the characteristics. Now, I will say this, red is a rarer color. The red is not really particularly that common. There's a lot of reds, but it's not that common. Orange is an even rarer color. So only oranges, I haven't met that many reds at all. The only oranges that I've met were people who were engaged in sports, or they like risk-taking activities, like people who, I don't know, they test roller coasters or something. But one of the ladies I know who's an orange is a professional golfer. And so she's very much into her body form. The more common color that you're going to find in the physical colors is going to be the yellow. So I'm actually these are my colors here, the blue and yellow. I'm actually blue yellow, but I added a band of violet. Yellow's a really common color. Yellows can also give into addictions, and being in addictions also can contribute to blur. So releasing the addictions can help you get out of the blur too. But back to, swing, sway, movement, choosing practices that involve like vision games or being playful. So we have had several Clear Vision Wednesday episodes that bring in games. So if you look back into the archives on the YouTube channel, you'll find the game shows. So watch the shows about vision games and being playful with your vision. The more you can make your practices fun, if any of these things resonated with you as qualities, the more that you'll notice that the vision improvement becomes easy. It's easy for you. It's not work to do it because you made it fun. So again, the swing, the sway, saccadic eye movements. Oh yeah, Ray Gottlieb, Dr. Gottlieb, the vision doctor, his trampoline work. I did an interview with him on Clear Vision Wednesday. I think it was last year on the trampoline work. So if you watch the trampoline work one, where you're popping up and down and looking at things and calling out numbers and letters, that's really good as well. So that's another one that's a lot of fun. But anything involving movement is going to be helpful for that. Okay, so the next colors are the mental colors. So this is like, so tans and greens. Now there's 4 different kinds of tans in the mental colors, and then there's the green. And they're a little bit, they have a lot of, they share a lot of similarities in that they also experience the world in terms of mental bandwidth. So like, these are going to be really logical people, and they're going to be thinkers, and they like data, but they're fundamentally different in a couple of different ways. And I'll talk about those, but I want to talk about the tans first, because that's far more common to find tans. And I say that because if you're sitting on a chair right now, or you're in a house, or you drove a car someplace within the last 24 hours, you were interacting with an object that a tan either designed or built. Because although actually yellows do a lot of building too, because they're very oriented with their physical hands, but tans are the builders and the inventors and engineers, and they have like this design in their mind that they can see things, and then they can bring it into being by the fact that they just step 1, step 2, step 3, how they build stuff. So mental colors are people who experience the world in a more mental way. Like, these are going to be the kids who are really good at studying, but they would be more in the math and sciences than in like the arts. They like data in general. They're very detail oriented. These are people who like data, like they want facts and figures. They think in an analytical and logical way. Oh, I'll give you a great example of a tan is Sheldon. If anyone watched Big Bang Theory, Sheldon is a logical tan. He's a really good example of that, like just the way his mind works. But you don't have to be super brilliant like that. You can just be somebody who likes data and facts and numbers and little Excel spreadsheets. You know, you like planning things out. You like measurements. Tans tend to go into careers that are really predictable in terms of like longevity. So they'll go into the military, they'll go into the police force, they'll be with a company for 20 or 30 years. A lot park rangers, there's a lot of tans and park rangers. They like a stable paycheck. They like financial planning and having a plan for their retirement. So they'll have the 401k, or they'll have their money stashed away in stocks and bonds that are very secure and there's not risk involved. They tend to like things kind of step 1, step 2, step 3. If they plan a trip out, every step of that trip will be planned out, and you will have no worries. If you have a tan planning your trip, like, you have nothing to worry about because it's taken care of in the background. Like, you know, you can trust them. They're very reliable people. They're very punctual people, just in general. But they like stuff the same. So like, if they find a favorite meal at a restaurant, they're going to eat that meal every single time they're in that restaurant. Like, it'll be like the same meal every single time. They don't want to go taking risks, like the exact opposite of Orange Aura. They like stability, and they like things that are consistent and the things that they know and trust. So how that can affect their vision. In the case of tans, they tend to work mentally on computers and legal papers and in accounting books and ledgers, and they will tend to focus their eyes in a very fixed way on the details for a long time. And then they will either end up with whatever vision condition is going to associate with how their age range and what else they are doing in their life. And they'll end up with blur. So part of this is stress, but part of it's just like poor body mechanics. Like, they're just using their eyes the wrong way. And once they learn the right way, they can fix that. They also have what can also affect their vision in terms of blur is having a fixed mindset. And that's what I was mentioning about they are not going to be that open to change. They like things to be step 1, step 2, step 3, and no surprise steps in there. Like, we don't like surprises. They'll be too detail oriented. They will have a lack of vision outside of the status quo. So like, not being able to come up with alternatives that might be better, but are kind of outside the box. What else affects their vision is not feeling safe. So one of the things I've seen come up over and over again with clients is financial worries, especially with the tans. They want to know that their retirement is taken care of. And if they don't have good finances for their retirement for one reason or another, it's usually not from poor planning, but it's usually like something happened outside of their control, like their 401k value dropped, or they had to sell the house unexpectedly, or something like that. That will throw them off balance, and they'll end up with blur because they're upset about not having that sense of security and safety. So if there's unknowns in their life, like where they're going to be living next, or the health of their spouse, for example, or the health of their parents or kids or someone they're taking care of, there's like too many unknowns. And so not having that security is going to translate into blur. And for the tans, in terms of how they can improve their vision, they like to know the how of what they are doing in their vision practices and the why. So they want to know the logical explanation of the practices that they're doing. So they're going to be asking all the questions. They're going to be like, well, why do we do palming, and why does that work, and how does that help? And their minds want that information because it's important to them. But for them, that data is going to help them believe in what they're doing, and it's going to help move them forward. So if you're resonate with what I'm saying about tans, you might want to learn about some eye anatomy, like what's the shape of the eye when it's either shortened or elongated with myopia or presbyopia, or what's the shape of the eye when it's healthy, and then visualizing that and then seeing that in your mind's eye as that's my goal, is I either want to, like, I want to have more of a round eyeball instead of longer or shorter, and then where is the image falling on the fovea before it or after it, with the different vision conditions. So like learning a little bit of anatomy can be helpful, and knowing the reasons why these eye practices are benefiting whatever condition that you have that you're working with clearing. So they like to have logical plans. So if you think about planning a trip, if they can plan out how they're going to improve their vision, if they can time block, if they can create they're going to be the ones that ask, how long do I have to do this? How many repetitions? How many times a day? How soon is my vision going to? They're going to ask those kinds of data evidential oriented questions, which everybody's going to be different on that, but it still is helpful for them to make a plan. So they can pick out a few activities, they can allocate time during the day. Now ideally you would be using your eyes correctly all day long, but they need a plan, so give them a plan. They want to create systematic habits of better vision. So going back and looking at the Clear Vision Wednesday episode with Andreas Spiros is going to be really helpful for that. She talks about habits. She's a lead coach for the Tiny Habits group out in California. So learning about incorporating the better habits. And they want evidence of success, and they want tangible results. Like they want to see progress. They want to know, like, how many lines can I read on the eye chart, and when is my frame of improvement, or how many diopters of improvement can I get, or anything else that they can use to measure their improvement, compare it to what they were in the past, to help them know that they're improving. So like that data is really important to them. Now, green is also in the bandwidth of the mental colors. Now, greens are different in that they're not risk averse. They like risk. I mean, the main difference with the main similarities with green and tan is that they both operate from a logical mindset. Like they're going to be intelligent people. Not that other colors aren't intelligent, but they're very mentally focused. So greens, but their minds work really quick. Like they like a tan, when you're talking with them, they'll want to tell you the story in stages, like stage 1 and then stage 2 and stage 3. They might talk slower. They'll give you every little detail of the story to the point where you're like, oh God. Not that they're boring, but like every single little detail is going to come into that story. And a green will be like, get to the point. Like green's like, just tell me the story and let's get going, and greens are very oriented around money as well. Like they want the financial security too, but they really want the money. Like they want to take the money and they want to spend it on the fancy car and the nice house and the travel, and they want to do stuff with their money. And a tan will be way more practical. They'll be like, we don't need to buy a Maserati this week. Like the SUV that we have that's a hybrid is much more practical, and then the greens will kind of be like, we don't need to be practical. So that would be, they might conflict that way. Greens will go into jobs with, they'll also go into accounting, but they're more going to go into jobs with like corporate leadership or finances. Think Wall Street. Wall Street will have a lot of greens on there. They'll also go into politics because it's about power. So anything with life success, power, money, that's all going to appeal to greens. Greens are also going to want a data and a plan for their vision improvement, but they're more going to be looking for, I need success and I need it soon. And their stress level alone is what will blur their vision, is that they will get stressed out about life or their career or vision decline or the problems that they can't solve in the world. They'll get stressed out about those kinds of things, and that will blur their vision more than spending hours on ledgers. It's really just like literally looking at their life stress. So greens, they work on life, maybe get a massage, like start learning how to relax for the greens out there. In fact, I bet there's not that many greens on the call. Because they're like too busy out there working. They're like, I don't have time to sit and watch a talk on color. So fun. I do actually have quite a few greens I work with. They're really nice people and they're very smart, and they often second guess themselves. Like greens will have big visions of success and big dreams, but they'll second guess themselves and not pursue those dreams because they don't think that they're good enough yet. Like they don't think they have everything together that they need to have together. So that would be like having a better clarity of vision in your eyes, but for your life and your dreams, and believing in yourself to move forward in that. Okay, so time blocking, habit tracking, creating a routine, and being open to change, all the things that are going to help the mental colors improve. Now we move to my favorite. I see my favorite because me, the emotional colors. Now I'm using these terms a little bit loosely because I think of these actually as both emotional and spiritual colors, but the traits are very similar, and I'll go over a little bit of the different ones of that. And by the way, you don't have to just be one color, you can be two or even three colors, and you can be a color where you like were born and you were a blue or a green or something, but you were born one color, and then you can add in another color later if you need it for a certain purpose. Like if you were born a yellow and then you have children, then you might add in an emotional color, which would be, I'm going to talk about these in a second, which would be like blue. Or like I'm a blue yellow, but I added in violet because I wanted to be more intuitive or wanted to work more with my intuitive gifts. And I also added tan when I wanted to work on my business, because adding in the tan, and those bands, sometimes they're permanent and sometimes they'll fluctuate. So I know the violet band I added is permanent, but the tan kind of goes in and out. But you also have to remember that you get the bad qualities in addition to the good qualities. Like you might become, maybe you're better with finances and planning and saving money, but you're also more cautious than you used to be. And maybe the caution isn't a good thing, or maybe it is. Okay, so the emotional colors are going to be blue, blue, violet, indigo, lavender, and crystal. Now I don't have the other colors here because I have the blue. I don't have the indigo and I don't have the crystal. And I honestly don't meet that many indigos and crystals. This is pretty rare. But in my, I've worked with trauma clients. I run across several of them there because they're sensitive in the world and they kind of get stomped on a little bit emotionally. So these are going to be the people who experience the world from their heart and more than their head. So they're going to be the feelers. They'll be the people that like cry when a commercial is sad. You can't watch a Super Bowl commercial without getting all teary-eyed when it's well done. Emotional commercial, like the ones with the horses, the Clydesdales. They are people who lead with their heart over their head. They're the feelers, the sensors. They're sensitive, the empaths, the people who qualify themselves or call themselves highly sensitive people, HSPs. They're going to be more intuitive. They're going to care deeply about others and causes, like deep to the point where they get emotionally upset with something out in the world that they can't understand how it could be this way. Like, how could they do that way? But they'll get emotional about it. These folks in particular struggle with, I think almost more than any other color, struggle with vision issues. I mean, tans have it with their overuse of their eyes on detailed work, but the emotional colors, it's usually from how they're interacting with the world or something that happened in their past. So what may happen to affect their vision to create blur could be childhood trauma. Like they're really sensitive. Maybe they had, so any of the ACEs, it's called, the adverse childhood experiences, like if you had a divorce or you had to move or you got abused or you got bullied or you changed schools or anything where there was a sense of inescapability and fear and uncomfortable change would create problems for these emotional colors. Having self-worth issues, like not believing in themselves or having internalized negative voices from their parents or grandparents or teachers or classmates. They'll be not believing in their ability to be a good person in the world. They tend to overcare for others. Like they'll put their own needs to the side and they'll take care of everybody else. We have a number of students that have bought the Naturally Clear Vision program and then they never started it. They just set it aside because they were taking care of their mom or their dad, or they had a spouse that needed help, but they would put their needs and priorities aside to take care of somebody else's. And I'm not faulting that at all, but it helps when you put yourself, I always say, put yourself first in terms of filling your own bucket and knowing that you, in taking care of yourself and increasing your own capacity, you can show up better for everybody else in your world. So if this resonates with you, I'm talking to you about this. Like, you be your best advocate. You be your coach to show up and take care of yourself before you go serving the world and showing up for the causes. Because that's typically what the all of these colors will do, is they will get behind a cause. They'll go into animal rescue, or they'll go into political stuff too. Like, they'll be believing in a political party's viewpoints. They'll kind of follow that because they think it's the right thing, and they believe in it and with all their heart. And it's honorable and it's a good thing, but not when you are prioritizing everybody else and not taking care of yourself. So I want to encourage those colors. They need, again, for affecting their vision, they sometimes don't follow their life purpose that allows them to use their emotional intelligence. Like, they'll just end up in a desk job, and they won't be in a job that's really using their emotional capacity, like their intuition or their great ideas or their ability to foster connection between others. All of those things are incredibly positive qualities for just human building community, human connection. And also using their awareness to help and inspire others. So oftentimes people who are emotional and feelers, they know how to get a group motivated. They just do. Physical colors do too, but emotional colors do as well. They really know how to reach you. So what can affect their vision? In the case of blues, I often see they have their children too far away, or they're worrying about the health of their parents or their spouse or their grandkids, and for whatever reason, and then they'll get blur. Sometimes they have problems with clutter in the environment. Like, they'll have attachments to emotional attachments to stuff, and they have a hard time giving things away. So that's another one with the blues. In the case of violets, it's they need to be following their bigger purpose. So they might get blur because they're not following their dreams, and they're not believing in their own dream that they have of how the world should be different. Now, a violet is a visionary, so they have an idea, almost, I don't want to say it's utopian, but they have an ideal in their mind of how something in the world could be changed to be better. So these are great people to have as leaders, but so often they get stifled and they don't follow their dream and they don't believe in it. And then they just don't act on it. And that will result in blur eventually. Like, they will just, because they don't want to see what they're not doing. So being disappointed in the world, that can also lead to blur in the violets. So how they can improve. Oh, actually, well, I'll go back to crystal and lavender in a second. So how they can improve. So they can tune into how it feels to experience the blur. And this is about like strains and gains, like noticing what strains your eyes. Maybe it's being on the computer too much, or maybe it's stress or whatever. And then noticing what relaxes your eyes. So looking at a distance or palming, other things that relax your eyes, getting good rest. And then see if you can tune into the strain and the blur, and see if it has a message for you. See if you can connect or correlate the blur in your life to a past event that you had that was around the time of the onset of the blur or earlier. So it could be like 1 to 2 years ahead of time, because what can happen is you have an experience as a child. Maybe you were bullied in school, or your parents got, you had a loss in your family, or there was a move or something like that, or some kind of instability as a child. And then you get stressed out, and then you end up in glasses, and that's your first pair of glasses. And then the prescription just ends up getting worse and worse as the years go by. So, and you may end up with feeling like there was a trauma in your past. So all of those contribute to blur, and not feeling safe in the world, maybe not feeling loved in the world, maybe not feeling included in the world. But any of those kinds of things, again, these are feeling people. So it's going to be feelings that are going to be a little bit more contributing to the blur than what the other colors were experiencing. So how they can improve. They can work with healing their past. So whether it's EFT, emotional freedom technique, or talking with a therapist, or writing, journaling it, or I've done some little mini talks, bringing in havening, doing some havening. Those are all really good for working with healing the past for yourself. Self-work here. Practice being in the present moment. Practice tuning into what your moods are, what your feelings are, how you feel in your space around you, how you're interacting with the world, and the feelings that you feel on a majority level rather than a minority level. Like, what's the do like I call it a mood check, but do a sort of a temperature check of yourself every day. Am I on the happier side? Am I neutral? Am I more down and despondent? And there's literally there's a on the internet someplace, there's like a round circle of rainbow colors, and it has all the emotions listed. And it's good to look at those emotions and start checking off the ones that you resonate with the most every single day, and then begin to increase your emotional bandwidth and your frequency and raise those up higher. So if you normally in your day-to-day activity, you're feeling sad, or you're feeling frustrated or angry or unhappy or depressed, or any of those lower vibrational frequency emotions, then move towards neutral. I don't encourage people to aim towards happy if you're like depressed, but just move upward towards a neutral place. And then from the neutral, when you're eventually at neutral and you're feeling pretty good, and you've downregulated your nervous system, you're not in fight or flight response anymore, then you can move towards the happier emotions. So like the joy and the peace and the anything that makes you feel that brings in good energy to you. That's like you feel energized and you feel, I'm happy with life. I'm feeling joyful, I feel good, I feel positive. So those are all going to be really good things for that. So and again, your eyes only see in the present moment. So the more you can practice this present moment awareness, the better it is for your vision. So that's going to be really good for your vision, to be more aware of how you're interacting with the world and what you're feeling on a day-to-day basis. So these folks need self-care. They need to be aligned with their purpose. They need to be taking care of themselves. They need to be appreciating themselves, and ideally also have people appreciating them, but really good self-care to themselves and their eyes. So that could be calming. It could be doing like little healing, little eye masks in the evening when your eyes feel tired. It can be appreciating themselves in a very positive way, like journaling about good qualities about yourself, 5 things that I appreciate about myself. It can be being around animals and children. All of those are going to get you in the present moment, and you're going to be seeing, especially with kids and animals, if they're running around, your eyes are moving and you're following them with your eyes and your head moving together, and you're watching the activity, and that's good for you. It's being able to receive love. So talking to the eyes and loving the eyes. We have a program a while back ago that was on talking with the eyes and listening to the eyes. That's a really good one to do if you want to get in tune with how your eyes are feeling, and following a life purpose that makes you happy, and really believing in that life purpose and that happiness. Okay, so the 2 more rarer colors that I've kind of skimmed over, the lavender and the crystal. I don't run across them very often. I think I've met now 3 crystals, and I've met I think like now 3 or 4 lavenders. So lavender's more into fantasy world. So things that are harsh and unpleasant and uncomfortable, lavenders are not going to resonate with. Neither are crystals either. Crystals don't want to be in crowds. Crystals don't want harsh, loud music, or they also don't like sort of more negative, like people being aggressive or mean-spirited. They don't like any of that. What's more positive for them is to have the freedom, both of these groups have the freedom to do what they want to do, be able to have sort of a creative, artistic, I want to say fantasy, active fantasy and imagination, but it's not, it's more than fantasy. It's really imagination. But for vision, they're going to be really good at visualizing. So most of the emotional colors are good with visualizing too. And the tans are also, well, actually almost all the colors are good at visualizing. It's just visualizing in a different way. But for the lavenders and the crystals, like imagining clarity, and imagining that the world is bright and beautiful and shiny and there's good things coming in, and focusing on the positive and the good in the world is really good for them, because they tend to be sensitive souls depending on who they were raised with. Because so lavender and crystal are both colors that they're fairly high frequency, but if they're raised in a family of tans, they're going to act a little bit more like tans, which is why they're so hard to spot. All of the crystals that I know, I never guessed their color correct. I always thought it was something else. And they're like, oh yeah, I was raised by a blah, blah, blah. And then that's where they got their color from, because they kind of chameleoned it in. Okay, so the main thing with the colors to know is that you can be more than one color. So if more than one of these groups resonated with you, then you probably are. So common color combinations would be like a blue and a yellow. So I'm the blue yellow put these two up, even kind of wearing turquoisey now, but like I'm kind of in the blue yellow combination. And that means that and you'll see this combination a lot in teachers and nurses, where you got the caregiver and then you got the person that wants to cheer people up and that everybody's happy and they kind of look out for people in more of a physical, fun way. Other common color combinations, yellow violet, that's another, like these are really charismatic people. They're going to be the people who are like the Hollywood actors, the ones that everybody adores, and they want to follow them around, because you've got the visionary and the communicator and like celebrity type leader. And then you've got the yellow, which is fun and uplifting and like they're exciting and always doing stuff, like let's do something, like they're very charismatic people. So yellow violets is really common. You'll often find, green. So as far as making money on the planet goes, the people that are green violet, because you've got the visionary and then you've got the green that are the money makers, like these people make money with ease. Like they are really, if they're not wealthy, they need to shift something in their life, because they can definitely make money with ease. But each of the qualities too can either help one another or hinder one another. The same thing goes with the vision as well. So if you resonated with more than one of these, then what I was saying for each of those improvement categories is something that you can look at to help yourself and move yourself forward. Now, if you're wondering, I wonder what color I am, or if you're thinking, well, I resonated with all those colors, I promise you, you're only one or two. Generally speaking, you'll be two different colors. Again, blue and yellow most common, tan also very common. And you can oftentimes tell what people are by their jobs. Like I sense them more than I see them. Sometimes I'll see the colors, but more often I'll sense them in people. Or I'll just ask them what their job is. Like, what do you do for a living? And if they did accounting or anything to do with, they were military, they were a police officer, I'm like, odds are they're a tan. Odds are they're a tan. If they were in nursing or teaching, odds are they're blue. If they are a professional athlete, or if they're like a ski instructor, or they like to surf, or they do something at the beach, sailing or whatever, chances are they're a yellow. And then you get into the combinations of colors, and that kind of expands it even further, because there's tons of combinations. Think of anything else I want to say on the colors. So if you want to read more about this, I've studied the aura colors now for close to 30 years. I started, well, actually even longer than that, a long time. So I started a long time ago, and I'm gonna start a website. It's supposed to be today, didn't get it up today, but it's gonna be called auracolor.com, and you'll be able to explore that. But I wanted to offer anyone on the call who's interested in the colors, or you're interested in intuitively hearing information about your eyes and maybe some of the challenges that led to your blur, or some of the ways to even get your vision better, to improve it holistically, natural vision improvement. I'm going to do a very special offer for you guys, so I want to make sure that I don't forget to mention that. I do private sessions. Generally speaking, I only do hour-long sessions, and just for today on the call, and also going forward, I think I'm going to do this till July 1st or so. I haven't decided yet, probably July 1st next week. So I'm going to offer a 30-minute session for just $50. And I put that on my website, which is www.trishakirby.com. Now, you don't have to just ask about colors and vision. You can ask any question you want to, because when you do a private session, I'm all ears on helping people. I have helped people who had political careers and ended up becoming mayors, and I've helped people in the police, and I've helped business owners, and just people working with their personal life. And I've been a coach to career coach and health coach, tons of different, anything you can think of to ask in your life. I tune into your guides, and I get information to help you live a happier, healthier, easier, more pleasant life that aligns with what your soul wants for you. That's my biggest thing, is I want to see people succeed. Now, 30 minutes, I cannot solve all the world's problems. I wish I could. I wish I had that power. That'd be great. But I can definitely help move you forward and get you in a good direction. And then you can also use it as like a little test to see, like, maybe I want to do an hour session later. When you purchase the session, you just pick any future date on the calendar. I have an accountant who bought a session in December. I was like, don't you want this sooner? I said, you want to move it? And she goes, nope, I'm busy right now. I'll take it in December. I was like, okay. But she wanted to buy it on sale because it was a good deal. That's a tan for you. She, really nice lady. So if you want to, any future date is fine. Just book it, but you have to purchase it by July 1st. And again, I will take that special down, and I will probably never run that again. And if you can ask any of my clients, that's like less than half of what I charge for the other one. So it's a really good deal. So I wanted to do something that can help you move forward in your life, maybe answer some questions, give you some insight, help you align with what's going to move you in a good direction. So if you are looking for some answers on literally anything, by the way, career is probably my specialty. I'm really good with career stuff, but I'm good with anything. I can answer just about anything. Then please reach out to me on my website, www.trishakirby.com, and check out that session. It's under the book online, book a session online on my website, and I'm happy to help you. So, okay, let me check and see if there's any questions on YouTube really quickly. Let me see. Oh yeah, Wendy asked about the trampoline. So Wendy, that's true. You have to watch the trampoline and anything with like a vibrational plate. She asked about doing the vibration affecting the retina. Yeah, so there is research that when you're on the vibrational plates, I didn't know about the trampoline affecting the retina, but there's people who've gotten detached retinas using those vibration plates. So yeah, we have to be careful with that. Obviously, don't overdo it. I mean, I'm talking about trampoline, like we're not jumping to the ceiling here. We're just doing a little light vibration. And so rebounders, you would want to know from your doctor that it's okay to use a rebounder for movement. And yeah, you just have to be careful with the vibration plates. If you think you're prone to, I'm even careful, and my eyes are fine, but I'm careful. I have a vibration plate, and I sit down, not on the plate, but on like a couch, and I have my feet on the plate, so I'm still getting the vibrational frequency, but it's not going up into my eyes. It's up to you. If you feel safe using it, then use it. I literally know people who use it all the time, and they don't have a problem. But I would be careful if you want to feel like you need to be careful. Yes. Let me see. Anything else? Oh, cool. Thanks, Lorna. Said that it helped her understand herself and her family members. Do you want these colors around you to help? Yes. Yes, you do. Yeah, so one of the things I want to say about the colors is that I often see people who they will marry somebody for a certain reason. Like a blue will marry a tan. The tan, usually it's the guy being the tan and the woman being the blue, but a blue will be drawn to the tan because they're secure. They're like, they know that that's going to be a good dad. He's going to bring home the, financial means to support the family. He's going to be sick. He'll show up for the kids. If there's a deadline or something that needs to be met, he'll be right there helping. But then the blue will be complaining because he's not really emotionally available. Like he doesn't shower them with affection, or sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't, or they'll clam up when there's a problem. Be like, they'll be very quiet. They'll start withdrawing to themselves. The blue's like, but I want to communicate. And then the tan will be like, no, I don't want you getting all emotional on me. So if you know that you're with a tan, you know to be patient with them. And the tans should know to be patient with the blues because they're going to be emotional, and they're going to be a little bit like a tan, like a blue will almost always be late to everything. I mean, they just run late. There's always something else they need to be doing around the house, caregiving or caretaking, and they're just going to run late to stuff. So you kind of have to know blues are going to run late. So it's just something to be aware of. All right. Any other questions? You can post them on YouTube. I will check back later to answer things as well. And again, if you feel inclined, if you would like to have a session on improving your vision, and it's not going to be like a sales pitch for another offer. It's not. It's literally just me helping you for 30 minutes on a call with whatever questions you want to ask. So as part of Claudia's team, yesterday and tomorrow, so Tuesday and Thursday, I am doing what's called the inner game call. So as part of her program, I read intuitively for as many students as want to ask questions on the calls. So I will usually get to, 15 to 20, 30 students, but there'll be anywhere from 30 to 80 or 90 on the call listening. And there's a ton of really good information on those. And I bring forth information that is intuitive and is specific to help you. I am here to help you on those calls. That is what I do. And that's what I do in my private session calls as well. And I've done this forever. I was born with an intuitive ability. I just feel things, I sense things, I hear things, I see things, and it's always to help people live better, happier lives. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye for now. And we have a bunch of great speakers lined up coming into the future in the next few weeks, and you're going to absolutely love it. So, and if you are ever tempted to take the Naturally Clear Vision program, I can vouch it's absolutely spectacular. It is a great investment for your eyes, and I invite you, if you feel drawn to it, then explore the options and come and join us on a program. We would love to have you be part of this big vision